everyone, welcome to Tanya Talks, and today I want to share something really special with you. I know in my past videos I'm either going on some type of adventure or I am trying something new, but I was baptized about a week ago at the Father's house and I was super happy and super excited about it, and it made me think that I want to make a vlog on my journey finding Christ and how I opened my heart to Him and how I fully accepted Him. I've always been a believer for as long as I remember. When I was a little girl, my stepmom introduced me to God, and she would enroll me and my brothers and sister into a Sunday school. So we would attend a Catholic church every Sunday, and we would go to studies where we learn about God and how to worship Him, and where we learn the 7 sacraments. And that's how I thought I was going to be saved. So majority of my life I grew up Catholic, and I've been going to a Catholic church. But even though I've been going there all those years, I still chose the life of sin, and I didn't take anything seriously. I still had a constant battle of praising Him and not praising Him. I still wanted to do bad even though I know it was wrong, and I was just so hypocritical of myself even though I knew God was watching, and I just took it for granted that I know He'll forgive me, but I just didn't have the heart to change. As the years went on, my brother and sister became a Christian, and they stopped going to a Catholic church. And I had a few friends who became Christian too, and which I thought was weird during the time because they would tell me that I am saved by grace and by faith. But as a Catholic, I grew to not break my Catholic ways, and I thought that I was saved by sacraments, and I kept telling them, like, no, you are saved by sacraments, which is, you know, baptism, reconciliation, communion. You would have to go to a priest to tell your sins and be forgiven. I was thinking, like, how can you can be forgiven if you don't go to confession? But I didn't know during the time that you had to pray to God and He would forgive you for your sins. So throughout my life, a lot of people went to me and told me about Christ and how I am saved by faith and by grace, but I still pushed them away because I didn't want to hear it. I was being so stubborn. But I was thinking, all my life at that Catholic church that I went to, I didn't feel like it was a home to me, or I didn't feel welcome there. I always felt rejected, even though I wanted to be part of something, and then I wasn't part of it. So I eventually stopped going. And as more people came to me and told me about Christ, I didn't know what to believe during the time. I didn't know what to consider myself. Am I a Christian or a Catholic? Although I know that they're pretty similar, but I know they have little different practices. But I was just confused on what to believe, and I was super scared. So this was around maybe 2014. I remember going to a Christian church for the first time with an ex-boyfriend. He brought me there because he also grew up Catholic, and he was also confused, but he found his way and he converted himself into a Christian. But when I was there for the first time at a Christian church, I wasn't used to it. I remember feeling really uncomfortable, and people putting their hands up in the air and praising the Lord and singing, you know, really happily. It's just something I wasn't used to, and I didn't know if I should have done the same. I just felt uncomfortable, but I know that I went there a few times at that Christian church, and I learned more than what I did when I went to a Catholic church, and I really enjoyed it. Even though I thought I found my way, I still didn't really take things seriously because I was still stubborn. I still wanted to just keep my Catholic faith, and I didn't want to believe in anything else. I still strongly believed that I was saved by sacraments. I had to go to confession to get my sins to be forgiven. I had to do good works. You know, nothing could have broke that because I was just being stubborn at the time, and I was still a little sheltered, and I didn't want anything to break that. So again, I was still hypocritical in what I did. I still chose a life of sin, and I still kept doing my same ways and not changing. Fast forward to 2020, throughout the years, I wanted to get closer to God, and I constantly prayed to get closer to Him, but I never took the steps. I wanted to build a relationship with Him and get closer to Him, to know Him, so I could have a place with Him in heaven. But during the pandemic in March, I finally lived alone, and self-quarantine is what made me get closer to Him. I remember one night, for some reason, I just felt I had so much fear and anxiety. I was thinking about hell, actually. I was thinking if I died tonight and if I went to hell, it would be for eternity. I would be suffering and nothing can save me because I didn't give my heart or life to Jesus. And that kept me up for weeks, and I didn't know what to do during the time. So I finally decided in my heart that God was telling me that the time is now, and that tomorrow isn't promised, because you don't know when you're gonna die. You don't know when you're gonna go. So that's when I decided that, okay, God, I'm gonna give my whole heart to you and my whole life, and I want to learn more about you. So, and it was just the best decision I did. I reached out to friends who went to the Father's house, because I've seen posts of them recording. Like before the pandemic, I had seen posts of people praising and singing at the Father's house. I'm like, man, that church looks really fun. I wonder what church that was. So I reached out to a few friends and I asked them about the Father's house, and they just told me a bunch of good things. And luckily there was one close by to where I live, so I decided to check it out. Before I started to go to the Father's house where I live, I had to go through this Discover Online and see what the church was about. And I'm glad I took that, because it had good values and had a good vision, and I just went for it still. I wanted to sign up for Bible studies. I went to a church pursuit where they praise the Lord, they sing, and the pastor has a few words, and sometimes they had baptisms. And every time I watched it, it would make me cry. And one day I was thinking, one day that'll be me. I remember watching Church Online. I watched it for a whole month before I did all this things physically. I watched it for a month, and every time someone got baptized, it would touch my heart and I would tear up. And just hearing the pastor teaching and spreading the word, it touched my heart, and that's what made me want to physically be a part of the community of the church. And I tell you, it was like one of the best things I've done, and things have gotten better, and I've been so happy. And I know that I still struggle here and there, but I turn to God for everything now, and He never lets me down. Even though throughout the years that I've sinned against Him, I chose a life of sin, He still chose me, and He helped me even though I sinned. And I'm thankful for Him for helping me. And I'm just so happy. But prior to me doing all these things, I was very, very hesitant of, going to Bible studies, going to church on pursuit, doing all these things. But I learned that, Satan wants to prevent you from doing all these things. He wants you to have fear. He wants you to have anxiety. But I didn't let him win, because I really wanted to grow my relationship with Him. I'm gonna cry. I really wanted to grow my relationship with Jesus, because I've always sinned against Him, and I love Jesus, and He did so much for me. So I wanted to give my heart out, even though I felt so uncomfortable. But God blessed me with so many good people, and it's just overwhelming sometimes. And I will not let Satan win, because with God, anything is possible. And I'm just rambling right now, but yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cry there. I didn't expect that. But as I was saying, I was hesitant, and I didn't want to go. I almost stopped myself from going to Bible studies, because I was scared of what people may think of me, or people might judge me because I don't know too much about the Bible. But I was thinking, this is between me and God, so I shouldn't care what other people may think of me. But as I went, they were very nice, and they were super nice, and I shouldn't have never thought that way. And they're very helpful, and I I like going to Bible studies now, even though I still get nervous sometimes, but I'm open and learning more about Jesus and growing my relationship with Him. I remember one time during Bible studies, I mentioned how I wanted to get baptized, and I asked them, when should I get baptized? And they said, right now. And I was thinking, I don't want to get baptized now. I wanted to build a relationship with everybody first. People in my Bible study group. I wanted to build a relationship with the community. I haven't even met the pastor yet. I've seen him, but a lot of people talk to him, so I didn't get to introduce myself to him. But I thought one day that, you know, it doesn't matter if people don't know me. My testimony is between me and God, and my baptism is between me and Him. So I just took the courage just to sign up for baptism. When it was time for me to turn in my testimony, I was told that I could invite up to 10 people for church on the lawn. And I remembered my sister has been wanting to go to church on the lawn. So I invited her, and her family came, and my brother-in-law. So my nieces, nephews, my sister, and my brother-in-law came to my baptism, and my boyfriend. When it was actually baptism day, I was surprised that people from the church that I go to, the Father's House in East Bay, came to support me on my baptism day. But I was getting baptized at the Father's House, Vacaville. And I didn't expect to have that much support. The pastor from the East Bay campus also came to support me, and it touched my heart. I'm like, you don't even know me yet, but you came to support me. And I just felt so supported, even with the people there. There was about 1,000 people, and I wouldn't say I was super nervous of reading my testimony in front of them. I was so encouraged to read my story, and I hope to get it across from everybody and hope it touched somebody. It was just a crazy moment. I was more nervous of like, this is happening. I'm so excited. Let's do this. So the day of my baptism, as I got in that tub, Pastor Dino was in the tub with me, which was gonna do the baptism, dip me in the water, and Pastor Shane was the guy who was talking in the microphone. When I got baptized in that water, I felt like, I can't explain it. It was just such an amazing feeling. I felt at peace. I felt the Holy Spirit in me. I felt that I was being hugged. You'll see in the video, it was just for a quick second, but I felt like I was there a bit longer. But it was just an amazing feeling, and when I got up, I was filled with joy and happiness, and I was happy that I got to share my testimony in front of 1,000 people, and just the people that are supporting me warmed my heart, and it was just a day that I wish I could relive. I know there's a lot of debate between science, beliefs, religion, and other practices, even for non-believers, but my message to you is, it's not too late to accept Jesus in your heart right now. Don't worry about the sins you may have committed or what your sins are. Jesus will forgive you no matter what they are. And I just want to share a quick scripture with you. Pastor Dave says this passage during end of Church at Home. It is Romans chapter 10, verse 9. If you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. If you believe that God sent his only Son to die on the cross to forgive our sins, you will be saved. Jesus paid the price so we wouldn't have to. If you accept him in your heart, you will have a place with him in heaven. And I really encourage you all to get to know Jesus and his love for his children, because I promise you, as you get to know him, Jesus will change your life, and he will help you in ways you didn't even think he could help you. God is so good, and with him anything is possible. We live in crazy times right now, and we don't know when we're gonna go or when Jesus will come back. But I really, again, encourage you all to know Him because He's such a great God. And unfortunately, a lot of people won't believe in Him, and it's sad to think that not everyone will be with Him in heaven. And I just want to read one more scripture with you. This is Matthew chapter 7, verse 13 through 14. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But the small gates and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few will find it. And again, unfortunately, there will be a lot of people who reject Jesus and who won't be with Him in heaven. As a Christian, I want to do my best to let people know who God is and what Jesus did for our sins. Even for those non-believers, I want to try to change their mind. Even though I'm still learning, I still want to share what I know to others. And even though they might not take it seriously, or they may not consider what I say, I believe that I can plant a seed in them, and with God's work, He can help that grow. And I used to be the same way. Way back in high school, the very first person who told me that I am saved by grace and faith and not by works was someone named Joseph Miranda. He was a high school friend that I went to. I remember one day we were jogging, and after a day of jogging, he told me about Christ. But I ignored that because I still had my Catholic mentality and I didn't believe him. But after all those years, God helped that seed in me. He helped that grow. Now I believe that I am saved by faith and by grace and not by good works. Not saying that you should continue to sin, but to avoid it, to repent, and to pray to God to help you overcome whatever addiction you may be having or any struggles. As I end my story on my journey on finding Christ, I pray that you all will have your own stories on finding Christ, because believe me, God has a plan for you. He loves you, He forgives you, and He will change your life when you fully accept Him into your heart. And that's my story. And I pray that you all will have a good day, and please reach out if you have any questions. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
With Pastor Shane and Tanya from our East Bay campus as she goes public with her faith tonight. So come on, turn your attention to the baptism.
Hey, good to see you, church. Shane, Jamie, Dino here from East Bay. We're going to hear from Tanya. She's from our East Bay campus. Let's hear her story.
As a little girl, my stepmom introduced me to God, and I grew up Catholic. Throughout my life, I knew God loved me, and I always prayed to Him. Even though I knew God's love, I still chose a life of sin. I made choices knowing they were wrong, sinned against Him, and made unfulfilled promises to Him. I even pushed away others who tried to tell me about God. I had this constant battle of being off and on praising Him. I knew God, and I prayed to get closer to Him, but never took the steps. One night during quarantine, I was filled with fear and anxiety, thinking, would I be with God if I died tonight? I prayed and cried that night. I felt God tell me that the time is now and tomorrow isn't promised. I reached out to friends who attended TFH East Bay and told me good things. I decided to watch church at home, and after a month of watching, it filled me with knowledge and hope. I built the courage to attend Discover Online, went to an East Bay Pursuit, and joined a young adult small group. After taking these steps, I have a strong desire to continue to build a relationship with God. I hope to serve by signing up for Adopt a Block and to one day go on missions trips. I no longer have fear as long as I continue to trust and have faith in God. Today, I have decided to go public with my faith.
Come on, Father's house. Hey, why don't you extend your hands towards Tanya. Tanya, Man, we're so proud of you. We believe that as you go in the waters of baptisms, you're coming up a brand new woman. God's got a plan for your life. He's got a destiny for your life. And based on your confession and the faith, we baptize you right now in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.